Okay, so today is still January 1st for me. See down here. For you, I think it's January 18th and it's block 2 of 2. So as usual, warm up, problem of the day, some big ideas, and some practice or work. For the practice, you are looking at the one-sided rate of change and starting point sheet. Okay, so, and you can see we've got 2 questions that have solid lines and 2 that are dotted or dashed. It doesn't matter one bit. So, back to the note. The warm-up question is this one. So, what is the sum of the angles in a 12-sided polygon? Now, I'm going to draw a picture just because I can. And oh, I didn't do that very well. I'm going to draw a picture just because I can, and I think I have a 12-sided polygon maker. Yes, I do. See, there it is. So if I have a 12-sided polygon, that is this. Now, you have a worksheet that we did before the break that has something to do with this. And what we did was we picked a corner. So I'm going to pick this corner. And what we did is we took a line, a ruler, and we made triangles from that corner. So here's a triangle. It's just a sliver of one. Start again at this corner. Here's a triangle. Here's a triangle. Here's another triangle, always starting at that exact same corner. For me, I don't know if any of you guys have seen string art. I did string art in grade school. I guess it's coming back into fashion, but this kind of reminds me of string art. And if I draw it from this corner to this corner, it's just a side. It looks like a seashell for me. So now what we need to do is we need to count our triangles. So I'm going to do that with blue pen. I've got 1 triangle here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've got 10 triangles. So the sum of the angles in a 12-sided polygon, all of these angles completely added up, is 10 triangles times 180 degrees for each triangle will be 1,800 degrees. So that is the sum of the angles in a 12-sided polygon. Now, I had my little polygon maker, and my polygon maker made a regular polygon. And a regular polygon is a polygon that has exactly the same length sides all the way around. So that means that this should have had a little tick on it, and this should have had a little tick, 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 not tick tock, tick, 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 tick. So 12 sides, each of them has a little tick on it. And so now we have a regular polygon, meaning that all the sides are the same length, but it also means that all the angles are the same length. So I guess the same size. So I'm going to count the angles, and I'm going to start at this angle here. So this was a corner. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Already got that. So if I want to know how much every single angle is, and they're all the same, that means I take my 1,800 from before, and I divide it by 12, which means I need my calculator. Sorry about this terrible writing. I don't know what's going on. So 1, 8, 0, 0, 1 less 0, divided by 12 equals 150. So therefore, each, oh my goodness. This is not making me very happy. Each angle is not 150 degrees. And it doesn't always work out so nicely. So it could be 150.5, it could be 150.33333. It could have been anything. But for our particular picture, it was exactly 150, which is kind of awesome. All right, so I'm going to try to figure out what's wrong with my technology. Let's look at this picture, which has two lines. And it says the cost of 2 gym memberships is shown. So we've got the red gym and the blue gym, for lack of a better way of describing it. And the question is, after I figure out my technology, determine the initiation fee for joining each gym and the weekly fee for joining each gym. And then the question is, which gym would you attend and why? So give me a sec to see if I can figure out what the heck is going on with this thing. Okay, I'm pretty sure that you guys just get to laugh at my frustration during this particular note. I'm going to deal with it as maturely as possible. So let's take a look at the blue gym first of all. So I'm just going to call it the blue gym because it's got a blue line. And I'm going to dig out blue pen to take care of this so that I have some consistency. And the first question is, determine the initiation fee. So for this blue gym, I'm not going to pay if I go negative time. So really the picture starts here. And that's if I join the gym and never go, which is actually what some people do. So in this case, if I join the gym and never go, I'm going to pay $200. So the initiation fee for this gym, which is the same as the starting point, is $200. The next thing is the weekly fee. And the weekly fee would be a certain dollar amount per week. And because it's a certain dollar amount per week, we get to do rate of change. And just a little reminder that with a graph, rate of change is rise over run. I know that looks like rice. There. So what we have to do this time is we have to make a triangle. So it's not what we did in the last note with a graph. Instead, with a table with first differences. This time we're going to go back to the triangles. So I am going to pick 2 pretty points. I could pick this one over here and the beginning one, but it leads me to believe that I should use the blue one and the red one. And I realize that's not a perfect triangle, but it's good enough for my technology today. And now we have to figure out what's going on. So we need to figure out the rise, so how far it goes up in this direction. And I realize it's 2 boxes, but 2 boxes does not equal $2. So it's 200, and this is 300. So let's see, 200, 210, 220, 230, 240, 250. That doesn't work. 200, 220, 240, 260, 280, 300. So each of these boxes is 20. So the rise is $40. Now let's talk about the run. So the run goes from here to here, and I realize that's 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes, but 4 boxes is not whatever it is. 4 boxes is, okay, 5 boxes is 10, so this is going 2, 4, 6, 8. So this is 2, 4, 6, 8. So I'm going to put a little 8 here. And that's actually 8, again with my frustration, weeks. And if I take $40 divided by 8 weeks, that will be $5 per week. I get to do this all again for the red line, which is the red gym. So, first thing I'm going to do is dig out the red pen and then talk about the starting point. So the starting point for this one is right here, which unfortunately is not as easy to read as this 200. We have to figure out what that is. So this is 100. So this is 3 boxes up. So that's 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. So 20, 40, 60. So our starting point for Gym Red is $60. So you don't take as big a hit if you're one of the people who decides that you're going to join a gym and then you change your mind and you don't want to go anymore. Because of my personal frustration with my writing utensil, I am not going to write rate of change equals rise over run, but I am going to figure out the rise and the run using a little triangle. And again, I need pretty points. So I could pick this point, which is perfect. It goes through the crosshairs. And I could pick this point, but I might as well use the starting one and the other one the picture gives me, which is right there. So now we get to figure out what our values are. Back to my red pen. I always try to do rise first because it's the first part of the formula. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes. So it's actually from the $60 mark up to here, which is the $180 mark. So this is 180 minus 60 is 120. And that's dollars. And my run is this way. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes again. And that is actually the same as up here. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8 weeks. And that means at this gym, 120 divided by 8 weeks is $15 per week. So I am going to move this down a bit, and in moving it down, it's going to make this whole picture smaller. See, I told ya. Because I don't want to answer this question quite yet. I have determined the initiation fee and the weekly fee for each of these gyms. I've got the red one here. Starting point is the initiation fee. This, the rate of change, is how much we're paying per week. Starting point is the initiation fee. The $5 per week, the rate of change, is the weekly fee for that gym. So I'm going to draw a black line because I want to start helping you learn how to make an equation. So first of all, let's do the red one, just because I've got the red one on my left. So if you are trying to find a formula for doing this, you start with a letter that makes sense. So C for cost, for instance. And it's going to cost you $15 every single time you go for a week. But that's not your total cost because you had to pay $60 once up front, which is that. So there's our formula. Technically, you should tell me that C is the cost in dollars and W is number of weeks. Sorry for the slowness. Let's take a look at the second one, the blue one. I won't have to do this again because I'm still going to use C for cost. This time they're charging me $5 every time I go for a week. And at the very beginning, I paid $200 once, so it doesn't get a letter or anything like that. So now the question is, which gym would you attend and why? So I'm going to see what happens when I try to type this, see if it's less of a battle for me. And so I want you to know that if you decide to go for this long, which is, scroll down my picture, 14 weeks. If you go for 14 weeks, either gym is fine. And that's because if you go for 14 weeks, they're going to charge you exactly the same amount of money, and that's about $260. But if you go for less than 14 weeks, so before this point, the red line is under the blue line. So that means you should go to the red gym because it's going to be cheaper. And I'll make this bigger in a second. And then if you go for more than 14 weeks, you should go to so here's your 14-week mark again. You should go to the blue gym because the blue line is underneath the red line, meaning that it costs less. So you should go to the blue gym. And a lot of places will advertise using pictures rather than words so that you can hopefully sometimes get ripped off. And sometimes if you can figure out what the picture looks like, you can make a wise decision. So just so you can see, here's that 14-week mark. And I said $260, but it's not exactly $260. But before this spot right here, so all of this area, the red picture is underneath, and after the blue picture is underneath. And the lower one represents the lesser cost. So I'm going to scroll down so you can see the stuff I typed. So it says and why. So I'm going to say the cost is the same. Go to the red gym because it costs less, and I would go to the blue gym because it costs less. And you can read that off of the graph, and if anybody asked you, you could put a big arrow and you could shoot it up to the graph and show them where to look, which is a nice little way of explaining your thinking in math. Again, sorry for the chicken scratch handwriting. The big idea for this is being able to read and go over rate of change, because as I said, how slow is this? These 4 questions, I'm just going to blow this up a little bit. These 4 questions determine the rate of change and starting point for each of the graphs. And then the second question is which graphs are examples of direct variation, which graphs are examples of partial variation. Partial variation is underlined because you need to remember that it is the same thing as indirect variation. So if I go to my last page of this particular note to explain what it is that needs done, first thing is the worksheet and the worksheet previous to this for the other note. You can now complete mission 11. So it should still be Monday, January 18th today. So you have until Wednesday, January 20th to finish mission 11. The other thing you can do also is, and check the plan for when it's due, is you can find in your little package the exit card that was originally dated Wednesday, January 6th, and it has 4 multiple choice questions, 1 open response question, and it's 4 pages this time, and the reason it's 4 pages is because the graphs take up a lot of room. That needs to be finished, and I believe, let me just double check. So this is your timeline. The knowledge hook is due by the end of January 20th, which is Wednesday. The exit card is due by the end of Tuesday, January 19th. So for you, that's tomorrow. So please get this scanned clearly in and sent to me either through SB or through email so that I can get that marked and onto your report card. So you can ignore this date because right now it should be the 18th for you. So that is all, and we'll start to do a little more lines tomorrow-ish. Maybe tonight for me.